Well, my accident was July 13th, Friday the 13th, 2007. We just started our own bike group because I used to ride the Rough Riders. Started our own bike group, which was Dade County Riders. So it was pretty much just like friends. At that point, it was just like maybe 9 of us. We didn't have any like Rough Riders. They have like dues. You paid dues. You had to learn to do a stunt. For us, it was just like we just ride, like whatever. Um, so we had this route that we took. It would be there's a highway called 826. 826 goes to I-95. I-95 goes to US 1. US 1 comes around to Okeechobee. And it's just like one giant loop. So I made it Okeechobee. We was being funny. It was Thursday, and the Friday was supposed to be Friday the 13th. It's being funny. Oh, let's go home before Friday the 13th hits. Friday the 13th hits, and I got hit. My accident was 12:05 a.m. Friday the 13th. I'm not superstitious, but it was just kind of crazy. Pretty much the cop cut across the median to stop one of my other friends that was on the bike. When he did that, he couldn't make a full turn, so he had to back up. When he backs up, stops in my lane, and I slam in the side of the car. I know that based on what the report was that they had was that I passed or I died. Then I was brought back, airlifted, and I was in a coma for a week. Only thing I remember is telling my friend to turn his headlights on because he had a kill switch for his headlight. And I go, turn your headlights on. He was like, yeah, I'll turn it on later. He pops a wheelie and that's it. I don't remember nothing else. I just remember waking up in the hospital a week later. It's pretty much 9 years I've been using the same hand. It's tired. I say that much. Um, I'm very careful with it. It's the only one I have, obviously. As far as like what I have went through, um, pretty much the bone where my right eye is shattered, like how you drop a glass and it just shattered into like a million pieces. You gotta soup the splinters up together, you can say. The bone shattered. There was really nothing holding the eye itself, just a socket. So pretty much as far as what I did, I had to do surgery on my right eye twice. They had to recenter it. They had to reconstruct. So it's not bone anymore. It's more like plaster or whatever they use. Um, the skull itself, they had to pretty much put like a plate in there or something in there. You ever looked at a watermelon? See the lines in there? That's how my skull looks. Yeah. So I had to do surgery on my right eye twice. I have a rod from my shoulder to my elbow, and I have a rod from my knee to my hip. It's still there. It hurts like hell. But being out in the cold, like even now, like sometimes it's like really bad. Like if you just like blow on it, like just from your own body, it would literally kill me. Like it would hurt that much. I know a lot of people look and go, "Oh, you're always laughing and smiling," but I'm like constantly, always in pain. Like it never goes away. Um, it'll go like if you could put it like on a scale 1 to 10. At times it's like normally like throughout the day probably like a 7. I think the lowest I could ever rate it is like 6. The lowest I could ever rate it. Um, this time has been that it's not even on the chart. It's like high. Um, Sometimes when I'm at work or at a kick in, even though if I have a customer in front of me, I literally have to stop and like hold my head down. I tense my body a lot because when I do it, I find that it kind of holds the pain down until it kind of subsides and goes back to being a 6. Well, as far as like when I first got in the accident, got out of the hospital, even while I was in the hospital, I was really like, sad. I was upset. I'm a strong believer in God, and I was extremely angry at him because I felt like, he allowed it to happen. Um, I went through depression. I think I would say that I tried to take myself out. Like I asked God to do it and it never happened. After that year, about a year and a half, then it was kind of like, all right, the depression, nothing's changing. Let's try something else. And I consider myself like blessed to be able to even do some of the things that I do. Uh, let's say we're gonna keep it real.
Last year. We heard of an employee coming in, and we didn't really know much of him. We were told what we were looking for, and then in the beginning, we didn't really know much about him, but we knew that he came in with something different.
I met Orlando, I want to say almost 2 years ago, and we actually met here after he started working. I wasn't part of the interview process. I just met Orlando when I came back from helping out in another store. He was very new to the company. I'd probably say maybe a week or two within the company, and he was a very nice guy.
I met Orlando at our interview. I saw his application in our system. From his background, he had great customer service experience. He worked in automotive before.
Nah, never. Why? Because I mean, you can't really judge people. What I mean, if you're willing to pull your own weight, being handicapped or just having any limitation really doesn't make you shouldn't limit you from or anybody from thinking that you can't be at the level that everybody else is at.
Yeah, at first I was hesitant because I didn't really know him yet. I didn't know what his limitations were. I didn't know, what he would be able to do and not be able to do. So it was a little bit hesitant at first, but started to realize that, there was really no limitations to him, and he was willing to take up on any challenge that came his.
No, never. Actually, that I can say he probably does what people with two arms do, and probably more. I feel like it. I feel like cause he has one arm, he does more work. He's willing to go out and not prove, but show that he's not a drag.
At first, I did believe it would limit his workflow, but once he started working and got to know our systems and process, and he was keeping up with the workflow, that really showed me that there was no limitations and there was nothing that was going to stop him from achieving success.
Basically, it would probably. Well, first thing, I'm not one to ask questions about people's issues. I'm more to myself, but the way the approach was different. I felt like he was being that he was outgoing. It was easy to initiate a conversation about it. It is what it is. He could have it and he can have it or not have it.
My initial reaction was very surprising because for the first couple of days I worked with Orlando, I would have never known that there was anything wrong until I actually went to shake his hand and then he threw me a fist. And then one of the other managers told me what his situation was, and that just opened up a whole new respect for Orlando.
I was surprised. I mean, from the way he carried himself, I never knew. I went to shake his hand, and that's when I realized um, his arm wasn't.
I see people who are in his predicament and some that are a little bit worse, and they're all the same. They're all the same. They change you because they make you understand that things are not always set. You could have one thing tomorrow, you can have nothing, and that is real. That is as real as it comes.
The fact that somebody could come in and keep a positive attitude with the limitations that you would think he has is very motivating for my own personal challenges and goals that I have. And it also helps the relationship that me and him have because I take that motivation and I use it when we're doing team projects together.
Well, it inspired me because seeing somebody like Orlando with one arm and never letting that one arm let him down. Always a go getter. Always a positive attitude every day. Who am I to complain of having a bad day here and there when he's always so upbeat and positive every day?
When I feel like there's things that that I could do better, or that why do I always complain about things? I feel like if he's not complaining, then why am I? If anything, the most inspiring part about it is just the fact that he's willing to hang around.
I absolutely do see Orlando as an inspiration to myself and other members of our team because of his consistency. He comes in with a positive attitude every day, no matter what it is he's going through personally, financially. It doesn't matter. He's a very consistent guy.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of guys use him as an example. I mean, the way he carry himself and what he does here, moving up so fast.
Miracle.
It'd be strong.
Motivated.
Superman.
Sweat and tears, but don't worry. Flashing lights, see my life flash before me. This is my story. This is my story.